Okay, AOC finally responded proudly concerning a high school yearbook photo that proves she grew up in a wealthy suburb. She said, "See, I told you I went to high school."
And I can tell you, I know that when I was waitressing and struggling to put food on the table, for a while there, I did. I tried to stop caring. I tried to just keep my head down, work my shifts, and accept that this is just how things are. But that is no way to live, Arizona. It's no way to live. What I do know is that we don't have to live like this. And in fact, we cannot live like this anymore.
This is ridiculous.
Kelly didn't just push back against AOC's political performance. She dismantled the entire act with razor-sharp humor and fearless precision. She called out every layer of AOC's dramatic posturing, viral virtue signaling moments, and long-running theatrical flair. From TikTok outbursts to dreamy economic ideas that never add up, nothing escaped the spotlight. This roast didn't just hit hard. It felt like watching AOC's carefully crafted image unravel in real time. And for anyone expecting a powerful counterpunch, the shock was immediate. The takedown left her speechless, stunned, and completely exposed.
Nonsense from AOC that he should be impeached is just absurd. Absurd. There's no... Okay, get back to me when you've read the Constitution or get a law degree, because you sound like an... There is absolutely no ground to impeach the president. He 100% was within his constitutional authority and his congressionally authorized authority to do what he did on Saturday.
AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her.
Greg Gutfeld didn't need even a second to warm up before launching into his roast of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The moment her name came up, it was like someone triggered a hidden comedy alarm in his head. He lit up instantly, as if he'd just been handed a script packed with endless jokes marked unlimited material, and he was ready to unleash every one of them. To Greg Gutfeld, AOC wasn't just another member of Congress. She was a full-time sketch routine, a walking bundle of punchlines who somehow wandered into political office and forgot to turn off the imaginary laugh track trailing behind her.
She's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions.
What did he start with? By highlighting her remarkable ability to treat every Instagram live like a full-scale national broadcast produced exclusively for her cats and the soft glow of her ring lights. Greg Gutfeld joked that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez could sit among genuine experts and still emerge armed with a fresh stack of half-digested buzzwords, impressive at first glance, but never quite landing the way she thinks they do. He compared her opinions to reheated leftovers from an old college activist rally, warmed up enough to look political, but never fully safe to digest without caution. It was his way of showing how her dramatic delivery often outshines and overshadows the shaky substance beneath it.
So by now you heard that AOC, among others, were arrested last night. She truly is an American hero. It was brutal, taken out in cuffs. Well, technically, her shirt had cuffs. Maybe French cuffs, as she did surrender without.
Greg tore into her flair for drama next, saying that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez treats every hallway in Capitol Hill like a spotlight runway and every minor disagreement like an opportunity for a full-scale televised meltdown. Greg Gutfeld joked that she approaches real legislation the same way a reality show contestant tackles a chaotic group challenge, loud, confused, and utterly convinced she's the heroic star, even as everything around her collapses like a kitchen set on fire. His roast painted her as someone always ready to dial up the theatrics, even when the moment doesn't need a dramatic lead.
For whether it's a good idea, that's a debate we should be having. And look, if we could get congressional approval of the specific action, fine, I'm okay with that too. If you want to bring it to Congress, go ahead and see how that goes. I don't think it's necessary,
But then came the moment he dove into her policy ideas, and Greg Gutfeld jumped in with obvious enthusiasm. He broke down Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's major proposals, describing them as a strange mix of dreamy fantasy fiction and economic self-sabotage bundled together. He joked that the Green New Deal reads like a rushed 7th grade science project, the kind slapped together with glitter, poster board, and absolutely zero real numbers behind it. Greg compared her style of policymaking to assembling IKEA furniture without the instruction manual, only to blame the chair when it collapses in dramatic fashion. His message was clear. The theatrics were always bold, but the details were consistently missing.
Let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? Finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we give trans rights? Oh, you just ruin women's sports. You ruin safe spaces. You make kids' lives hell. But
Greg ripped into her non-stop social media presence, claiming that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez spent more time filming videos than a full-time influencer who never clocks out, just with the added twist of dodging actual facts while doing it. He imagined her staff meetings as chaotic productions filled with filters, catchy slogans, and someone dramatically shouting about carbon emissions while snapping selfies inside an SUV, turning the whole operation into a theatrical spectacle instead of real political work. Then came the tears, something Greg couldn't resist mocking. He described how she transformed every vote she disliked into a full Shakespearean tragedy, complete with a trembling voice, long dramatic pauses, and lighting that looked suspiciously staged for emotional effect. According to Greg Gutfeld, if she didn't get what she wanted, it wasn't treated as a simple policy disagreement. It instantly became a world-ending disaster performed for maximum attention. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly stepped in on another platform with a calmer, razor-sharp approach, quieter, but far more devastating. She peeled back AOC's public persona layer by layer, like an onion that only grew more tear-inducing the deeper it went. Megyn questioned the illusion of AOC's intellect, pointing out how she delivered half-shaped talking points with the confidence of someone who skimmed a quick online summary and mistook it for expert-level knowledge. Her critique painted AOC as a politician heavy on emotion and theatrics, but consistently light on structure, depth, and the substance expected from a serious public figure.
There's a beautiful little town called Yorktown Heights in Westchester. It's not the fanciest of Westchester towns, but it ain't the Bronx by any measure. And the reason this is relevant is because a congresswoman who you may know as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been telling us for years that she is from the Bronx. And recently she had a fight with President Trump over tweet, text, truth, whatever. And she played tough and said, "Oh, don't you mess with me. I'm a Bronx girl. And we eat Queens boys."
Megyn continued by calling out Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's habit of using moral outrage as a substitute for real data, noting how she treats every disagreement not as a normal clash of ideas, but as proof that someone must be a villain in her dramatic worldview. Megyn Kelly pointed out that the real world doesn't operate on simple hero versus villain storylines. Yet AOC behaved as if she'd missed that memo entirely, probably because she was too busy staging another emotional protest inside her own office. Megyn then shifted to AOC's performance-style politics, explaining that AOC didn't focus on legislation. She live-streamed. She didn't debate. She performed. It was as if she entered Congress with a pre-written script, a spotlight, and a plan built mostly around collecting likes. Megyn joked that AOC treated press conferences like audition tapes for a dramatic role that existed only in her imagination. She also jabbed at AOC's environmental posturing, questioning how someone so committed to saving the planet could fly often enough to rack up travel miles like a touring DJ. Megyn mocked how AOC's climate messaging carried the depth of a bumper sticker and the consistency of a weather forecast scribbled in crayon, Finally, she highlighted AOC's love of outrage, how every headline became a personal battle and every opposing voice turned into a looming threat. In Megyn's view, AOC had transformed public policy into a continuous slam poetry performance, packed with exaggerated lines crafted for maximum viral applause.
But if her pants had cuffs, she would have pretended to be in leg irons too. But real handcuffs, not so much. But that didn't stop her from pretending. And I hate it when people do this to me. When I ask people to put on handcuffs and they say, I'll just pretend I have them on, I'd be like, sure, and I'll pretend to pay you after.
Megyn couldn't resist poking fun at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's constant references to her humble beginnings, joking that AOC had stretched her former bartender job into the political version of a Marvel origin story, as if she personally invented struggle and turned it into a superhero franchise. Megyn Kelly laughed that AOC talked about her past with such theatrical intensity that she half expected the next campaign slogan to be, "From cocktails to Congress, a revolution in heels." Switching back to Greg, he wasn't ready to slow down either. Greg Gutfeld dove into AOC's endless battles with the media, especially her long-running feud with reality itself. He joked that AOC acted as if being questioned were the same as being persecuted, treating every fact check like a crime committed against her feelings. Greg compared her reactions to a toddler denied candy, loud, indignant, and absolutely convinced she was the victim of some grand injustice. He mocked how AOC built her brand around being the voice of the people, yet somehow managed to avoid interacting with most actual people, relying instead on Twitter activists, TikTok philosophers, and climate protesters glued to sidewalks as her stand-in audience. He also pointed out the irony of someone so focused on working families spending so much time being styled for magazine covers. Greg even jabbed at her red carpet appearances, describing her famous dress moments as fashion statements delivered with the subtlety of a jackhammer.
Respectfully, AOC. Well, that's real cute, except she only lived in the Bronx until she was age 5, when at best you're in usually kindergarten, maybe first grade. And she spent the rest of her childhood, 1 through 12th grade, in Yorktown Heights, which is Westchester. And by any measure, it is richer, nicer, and more white collar than the Bronx, with all due respect to my friends.
Greg argued that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tried to play a modern-day Robin Hood while wearing designer shoes, stealing attention from real issues as she delivered speeches that sounded like tweets stretched through a thesaurus for extra dramatic flair. Greg Gutfeld joked that her rhetoric was less policy and more performance, flashy, loud, and engineered for maximum engagement. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly stepped back into the spotlight to dissect even more of AOC's contradictions. She pointed out how AOC constantly preached empowerment while insisting she had no power, demanded accountability while sidestepping it herself, and championed transparency while avoiding any interview that didn't come with pre-approved questions. Megyn argued that AOC mastered the art of switching between revolutionary and victim, choosing whichever identity best matched the camera angle of the moment. She explained how AOC flattened complex political issues into short viral slogans and treated anyone asking for specifics like an enemy of progress, as if capitalism were Voldemort and every economic question another chance to blame billionaires instead of offering real math. Megyn highlighted how AOC built movements with no structure and launched bold plans with no logistics, approaching politics like a college club. Lots of posters, high energy, and zero follow-through once the excitement faded and the pizza was gone.
Of course, AOC was mocked on social media for imitating being handcuffed, which is a change from her usually being mocked for imitating a congresswoman. That's not even close to being as disgusting as I can be. She, in fact, was gingerly escorted away to a holding area where she kept up the phony display before finally raising her fist to supporters. She then crossed her wrists behind her back, again in the faux handcuffed position. It's as tall a tale as AOC nearly being killed on.
Gutfeld came charging back in, calling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez the queen of delayed revelations, joking that she always seemed to remember trauma only after it became a trending topic guaranteed to grab attention. He mocked her sudden waves of dramatic flashbacks, each perfectly timed to coincide with new legislation or major news cycles, making it feel less like memory and more like performance. Greg Gutfeld quipped that if there were an award for Best Political Improv Drama, AOC would win hands down, and proudly thank herself in the acceptance speech. He also teased her approach to international policy, claiming her entire foreign strategy boiled down to feeling sad, blaming America, demanding change, and offering absolutely no concrete plan. Greg imagined her attempting to solve global crises with inspirational quotes and vegan recipes, as if sheer emotion could rewrite world affairs. Then Megyn Kelly stepped back in to examine AOC's evolution from fiery activist to establishment favorite, all while pretending nothing had shifted. Megyn argued that AOC wanted the credibility of rebellion paired with the comfort of power, crafting the political equivalent of crashing a party and then loudly complaining about the music she herself had chosen.
Now some of her schoolmates, separate and apart from Benny, are weighing in on her claims. I'll get to the Benny thing in one second, but there was a piece in the New York Post talking about how she's embarrassing herself. She's embarrassing herself now with this Bronx girl.
Megyn mocked Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's endless photo ops, her carefully staged outrage, and the constant cycle of controversies that always seemed to end with a dramatic video and a fundraising link. She said AOC had turned her role in Congress into an ongoing performance series, with each episode starring her as the misunderstood heroine boldly standing against reality itself. Both Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly agreed that AOC wasn't some random political surprise. She was a polished brand wrapped in the guise of authenticity, marketed as a revolution, and ultimately powered more by Wi-Fi than actual results. They viewed her not as dangerous, but as predictable, a script with wardrobe changes and a protest sign paired with designer boots. Greg joked that if given a full week to write a bill, AOC would return with a spoken word poem and a curated playlist. He imagined her trying to pass legislation with glitter pens and TikTok clips. According to him, AOC didn't represent the future. She symbolized the moment politics swiped left on substance. Megyn, always sharp, closed her critique by predicting that AOC's biggest challenge wouldn't be criticism, but time itself. Eventually, slogans lose power, hashtags fade, and the public starts demanding real results. When that day came, AOC would discover that likes don't pass laws, retweets don't repair infrastructure, and no amount of emotional videos can replace genuine work.
AOC was on 60 Minutes last night. Quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on.
They made it clear that the roast wasn't over. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was still on stage performing, still collecting applause from people who hadn't even bothered to read the script behind her show. And as long as she kept talking, Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly would be right there, sharpening their jokes and sipping coffee like they were preparing for the next act of a never-ending play. Greg jumped back and enthusiastically, pointing out that AOC's biggest political accomplishment so far seemed to be transforming every policy discussion into a full-blown episode of performative theater, complete with props, costumes, and speeches that always ended in applause from an audience that didn't fully grasp what she said. He joked that she could turn something as simple as a pothole complaint into a national debate about feelings, inequality, and whether the pavement itself had privilege, making even the smallest issue sound like a dramatic national crisis.
Let's check in on AOC and see what she has to say.
Any quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now?
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? I think this breakup we've been seeing a long time coming, but we'll see what the impacts are of it legislatively.
Okay. You're so cool referring to them as the girls. She's above it all, Ben. That's what she's trying to telegraph. You see, she's the adult in the room, the one out there who does a preacher accent, and she leans into her fake Latina accent. And like, she's the adult.
Gutfeld took direct aim at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's idea of leadership, saying that whenever a real crisis arose, she showed up late, unprepared, and theatrically over the top, like a firefighter arriving at a blazing building with nothing but a scented candle and a vlog camera to capture her reactions. He argued she seemed far more focused on shaping a story than solving an actual problem, with supporters absorbing every moment as if it were political popcorn. Megyn Kelly stepped in with another precise jab, highlighting AOC's instinct to moralize every issue while ignoring the practical work needed to actually fix anything. Megyn joked that AOC was the kind of leader who could pressure someone into recycling a single straw while flying private to her next speaking engagement. She also mocked AOC's selective outrage, noting how she would erupt over trending online topics while brushing past the tedious realities of real governing. Kelly concluded with a sharp smirk, saying AOC's greatest fear wasn't being wrong, it was being irrelevant. In her world, silence isn't reflection, it's defeat. And as long as cameras, controversies, and perfectly rehearsed reactions exist, AOC will keep talking, whether anyone is left to listen or not.